majority of the American people think it makes sense for us to put teachers back in the classroom and construction workers back to work and tax breaks for small businesses and tax breaks for folks who are hiring veterans. But we got 100% no from Republicans in the Senate.
Welcome back. Of course, that's President Obama today out selling his jobs plan to America. He started out in Jamestown, North Carolina. Then, as you can see on the map, he made his way into Virginia, where he's speaking today at a high school in Emporia. He addressed critics who say his jobs tour is a political stunt. Let's listen to the president.
Some people asked me yesterday why I was visiting Republican areas of North Carolina. I said, well, first of all, it's because I just like North Carolina. Second of all, I'm not the Democratic president or the Republican president, I'm the president. And third of all, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat, because we're all Americans.
Well, Bob Schrump's a Democratic strategist, and Ron Reagan's a political commentator and author of My Father at 100. Gentlemen, I want you to start out by looking at something very heated. This is a comment made yesterday by Mitt Romney. It was in a meeting with the Las Vegas Review-Journal editorial board yesterday. He was commenting on foreclosure and the crisis attending that. Let's listen here to something that could be very hot.
As to what to do for the housing industry specifically, and are the things that you can do to encourage housing? One is don't try and stop the foreclosure process. Let it run its course and hit the bottom, allow investors to buy homes, put renters in them, fix the homes up, and let it turn around and come back up. The Obama administration has slow-walked the foreclosure processes that have long existed, and as a result, we still have a foreclosure overhang.
Well, I think we just heard from Mr. Potter at It's a Wonderful Life there, Bob Schrum, the bank owner. I mean, in other words, foreclose all the poor people, take away their houses, and start renting to people who are desperate enough to just rent a house. I mean, it is Mr. Potter right out. It's Lionel Barrymore there talking. Yeah. What do you make of it, Bob Schrum?
Well, look, this is a guy who made his money by firing people. Now he thinks he can make his presidency, I suppose, by foreclosing on people. There's no political IQ here. Who would go to the foreclosure capital of the nation, the foreclosure capital of the world, and say, let's foreclose more houses faster? Roosevelt did this right in the 1930s with the Homeowners Loan Corporation. They wrote down principal on houses when that principal was excessive for people who could then make the mortgage payments, and that stabilized the housing market. I now think a little bit of the real Mitt Romney popped out there. This is a cold, metallic guy who doesn't really care a lot about what's happening to ordinary people in this economic crisis.
Well, again, Ron Reagan, it's again his statement that corporations are people too. And here he is saying that investors should be the vultures here. The poor little family that can't make it as monthly now should be kicked out and replaced by somebody more desperate who's willing to pay rent, own nothing.
That's right. When some corporation can come in and buy all these houses on the cheap and then make a killing later on. But as he said, remember, those corporations are just people too. So, it's not.
I mean, it's a cold.
He
comes off as a kind of a cold person there, doesn't he? For a politician.
Yes, he does. This is the as Bob said, this is the Bain capital of Mitt Romney here, who comes into companies and turns them around by firing everybody. I mean, did he mention anywhere in that discussion with the Las Vegas paper the fact that banks had been cheating their customers and been signing off on foreclosures without even checking the facts and had been doing that for years? I don't think so.
Well, no, let's go to the Sean McCain, another guy who seems a bit bitter these days. He spent the last couple of days blasting the president for driving the wrong bus. He's now become a bus critic. He criticized the president for the type of bus. He's right. This reminds me of George Bush Sr. in the flag factories. Are we confusing the instrument with the message? Let's listen.
I've never seen an uglier bus than the Canadian one. He's traveling around on a Canadian bus touting American jobs. So, and one of the reasons why Americans and I and my colleagues are a bit skeptical, because we've seen this movie before.
The shell of the president's bus, by the way, was built by the same Quebec bus maker, Prevost, but its interior was then built by a coach maker in Tennessee. And McCain may be the wrong guy to throw stones. It turns out his famous Straight Talk Express was the same kind of bus made in Canada as were Bush and Cheney's campaign buses and Michelle Bachmann's congressional campaign bus. So don't throw stones at the same bus you're riding in, I guess, or something, Shrummy. This is so lowbrow, so below John McCain. He must be out of material to be arguing about buses.
Look,
your thoughts?
Well, I think McCain has been angry and disappointed ever since he lost the 2008 election. Thinks somehow or other Barack Obama, he couldn't believe that he lost to him. The whole thing is absurd. As you say, first of all, the same guys built McCain's bus that built the Obama bus. Beyond that, if you want to argue about Canada, my recollection is that Senator McCain voted for NAFTA, for the North American Free Trade Agreement, and that's what enables Canadians to sell things here very easily and Americans to sell things there very easily. We basically have a common market.
They're our biggest market in the world. What is the complaint here? Ron Reagan, this has reached the level of pettiness. But look at this. The president's got a challenge. Here he is in North Carolina. The Quinnipiac poll has his numbers. 62% disapprove among independents. This is a real threatened re-election campaign. Your thoughts?
Well, it is, and I think that's one of the reasons he's going right into the belly of the beast and going into Republican areas, as he should. He should speak to Republicans as well as Democrats. I think that the Republicans, and McCain's complaining about the bus, I think is a sign that they may be a little nervous about this tour, not just seeing it as a target of opportunity for derision, but actually are a little nervous that the conversation has now been changed. When's the last time you heard deficit reduction featured prominently in anybody's talking points here? It's all about jobs, 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 and that's where the president wants it to be. Let me just say, however, I think we can all agree it is one ugly bus.
I know.
It's like the Death Star coming into town. Couldn't they put a flag on it or something?
I know. Mr. McCain reminds me of Mr. Wilson complaining about Dennis going on his lawn. Anyway, thank you, Bob Shrum. Thank you, Ron Reagan. Wish we had more time. We will next time.